Leo, welcome to your general Tarotscope for the first half of November, ending on November 14th. And please do not click off this video right now just because I'm not laying out the cards. I'm shuffling right now. I just want to tell you about a few transits that are affecting you during the first half of the month. And you're actually going to have a full moon in Taurus on the 14th. And that happens to be your 10th house of career. So that could be very good for you being kind of like put in the spotlight, which Leo will step in very gladly and take your bow. And that could even be a boost for your career. You might even see, you having a promotion. For some people, maybe it is an ending. But remember that when one door closes, another opens. Isn't that nice and cheesy? But I mean, it's true. Then Mars goes into Aquarius. Well, I shouldn't say then. Actually, a week before that, in the U.S., right after the elections, which will be very interesting, on the 8th. I think it'll be closer to the 9th. I think it'll be closer to midnight in America. Mars will be going into very revolutionary, unconventional, rebellious Aquarius. So that should be very interesting to see what the collective decides to do. You know, Mars is like chomping at the bit, trying to, enact something. Venus goes into Capricorn on 11/11, and this is in the 6th house, which is your work and daily routines and your health. So any of those areas can be benefited. There could be some kind of financial gain as a result. Maybe it is a boost to your income in some way. But it could be just a harmonious workplace, and maybe, something that you do for your health that's beautifying. And let's see. And then the other transit I wanted to tell you about was Mercury going into Sagittarius on the 12th. And this is your 5th house of romance. So what's really nice about that is that it gives a certain sense of, communication with somebody that could be, an eventual love partner. This can be very good for, having that kind of verbal relationship, and maybe it will lead to something more. So awesome. Let me put these a little farther apart so they're easier to read. Interesting. It's like I'm going into the love readings all the time. But actually, tell you the truth, the first 3 cards could be career. Most definitely. The 9 of Cups. I've been getting this a lot too. And I was watching 2 Sagittarius videos where the 9 of Cups showed up from other people. So it's kind of interesting. You're a fire sign as well. Could be that fire energy, the angles that are made to various with the transits that are favorable. Because actually you have, being a Leo, you have that Libra in your 3rd house. So that can benefit you in, you have that Jupiter in Libra, is what I meant to say. In the 3rd house of communications, and so it depends on exactly what's going on in your life, I suppose, of what is making you so happy, which this 9 of Cups represents. This is like a wish fulfillment. They always say the man is smug because he's like really, really having things go his way, but it's more than that. It's, the yes card, whatever it is that you wanted, it's coming to you. So maybe it was that dream job. Now this is happening, according to this reading, in the first half of November. In the past position, we have the Ace of Swords. So it could be, to be honest with you, it could be a moral victory in a sense, I'm thinking, because the Ace of Swords is about seeing things as they are. And it's really, I think it's not just seeing things as they are, but, forging a new path in a very courageous way. There's a victory associated with the Ace of Swords, if I'm not mistaken. But I always think of it as this, the sword of truth, of really just piercing through the veil of lies, of deceit. And so the Nine of Cups could be like you being vindicated, maybe. Maybe that's how it plays out for you in some way. Maybe you were in a workplace where you suspected that there was some kind of shady stuff going on, and you found out, and you were able to uncover that. It could have happened in your personal life, but it could be that you're getting financial gain from it, because even though it's a Cups card, the Nine of Cups can indicate abundance. So maybe you're profiting from somebody else's lies that you have uncovered somehow. And in the personal realm of relationships, it could simply be that you feel that you have been restored in some way. Maybe by uncovering somebody else's maybe this is even like a spouse. I could even see like a spouse who swears up and down that they're not cheating, and you find out they have been, and now you're going to go to divorce court, and you're going to get a lot of money. I don't know, but there's a feeling that you're on the winning side of things, and that you have gotten what you wanted, whether it was knowledge or whether it was actual a position somewhere, or maybe even related to a relationship that you wanted a certain individual, and maybe other people were telling you lies about them that weren't true. They didn't, sometimes people slander others because they're jealous, or and so you've gotten what you wanted. What's coming in is the Knight of Wands. This could be an energy of like a physical affair, or just, and when I say an affair, it doesn't mean anything sordid. It just means that you may be getting ready for like a very passionate relationship. You may be dealing with somebody who is of another fire sign element. So it could have been it can be an Aries or a fellow Leo. Love to see one of those relationships. If you're in a relationship with another Leo, I'd love to hear your take on how that has been for you, if you're still together, or even if you're not together, how it went. Or Sagittarius. And there's with the Knight of Wands, there's a bit of frenzy. It's not. So but that's not something that's off-putting to you, because you enjoy being a fire sign. You enjoy the passionate side of life. You don't want things to ever get too sedate. So you can handle it if there's a whirlwind romance that you are engaging in. You can handle it. The higher, okay, this is very interesting, and this kind of goes along with something that I was thinking about. The higher message is the Three of Swords. Now, this can play out in different ways for different people. This could be saying there are three parties involved, and someone has to, it can't stay like this forever. I did get the feeling with that Knight of Wands that there might have been someone either coming in for you, or you're being that person for somebody else. That is, I always say a good time Charlie, but it could be a good time Charlene. But somebody who is very commitment phobic. Now, this person, who is this person in relationship to these two other cards? Well, if we want to look at their astrological. Maybe this person that you are currently with is, and this could be somebody that you're very happy with emotionally. Could be a Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, and maybe in the past you were with somebody who was an Aquarius. I said Aquarius, that's jumped out at me, but it could be another air signs like Libra or Gemini. And the interesting thing about that, you may have these two people in your life. Maybe these are the two people. Maybe you are this person, and you're having these passionate affairs, but you're afraid to commit for whatever reason. Now, what I would think about this, which is kind of interesting, is that you may feel, if you're with a water sign person, that they're really fulfilling you emotionally, and they're really very nurturing. Maybe they're caretaking. Maybe they like wait on you hand and foot, in a way. And I don't mean that as a slam on them. They may just be that type of person that is willing to, make sure that all your needs are met, but there's something still missing within you. Because a lot of times, and people sometimes when I say this, they get a little bit confused because they take it as I'm saying this as gospel. Whatever I say on here, please understand. I'm doing a general reading, and I'm not trying to characterize all of you, put you in a box, put all the people that you know in a box. I realize that we are complicated human beings. We're not our astrological signs on a higher level. This is just some sort of categorization. I know this is just a way to categorize the signs in order to look at some of the common traits of each sign in order to get a better grasp on what makes them tick. This isn't meant as, ironclad, okay? But in general, since I must say that, in general, water sign people tend to be very caring, very domestic, and therefore they tend to be very clannish. They tend to kind of be very interested in their own little world and their friends and family. But fire signs like you and me as a Sag, we are more outer. Okay, they're more like inner because they're passive feminine signs. We are masculine signs. So we tend to not take things as personally and not want to be, not want to see the world in such a subjective way. And it's not that one is better than the other, one, way of living. It's just that sometimes they clash. And so, if we expect a water sign person to be oh, get over it. Why are you so focused on, why do you care so much? Let your family be who they are. Just come on, let's go out and, let's do this. No, I'm they're very homebodies, a lot of them, and stuff like that. And you may get exasperated because you want to explore the world, and it's just being different types of people. Even if you have kids, you may be like, let's travel, and they tend to be kind of afraid of differences, afraid of change, wanting their world to be with their personal imprint on it and not wanting that influence from that outer world. Now, I'm not saying people who are water signs or earth signs don't like to travel or anything like that, not at all. But it's that we are much more interested in the grander scope, I think, overall. And again, this is a gross generalization. So that person may fulfill you on one level, but then on the other level, you feel like there's something missing. And then with the air sign, you may have felt like you had a mental rapport, and maybe even interest-wise, you had something in common, but the emotional component, you may, sometimes it feels like something is lacking. And so you may have somebody else, either you are being that person who is just having an affair to pass the time of day until you find the right person. Who knows? But this card suggests that you have to, it can be like a cutting that needs to take place. And it may be that you have to just cut somebody very quickly out and not let them hang. Maybe you've been kind of like holding, or what do they call that? Leading somebody on. Maybe not maliciously, but they think that, you really are committed to them, and you're really maybe just interested in a fling, a roll in the hay, so to speak. So, but this could also be that you have an unhealed hurt, and this is causing you to be uncommitted, or this is causing you to be, indulgent in some way, because the Nine of Cups can actually be quite indulgent. And so, maybe you were cynical when it comes to love because you've been hurt, and so that has kind of made you into a player, and it could be a man or a woman, and you're just like, okay, I'm just going to have my fun, I'm not going to even care anymore, but you really are still hurting, so it could be something like that. The advice is the Hierophant. So this is about those traditional values. So abstinence, maybe you need to be abstinent, maybe you need to be celibate. I mean, seriously, maybe you need to put on a chastity belt, because maybe you've been, I always say that Leo is one of the lustier signs. I mean, Exhibit A, Mick Jagger, need we say more? But, really, having these kinds of, sexual relationships, sometimes they have, little to do with sex and a lot to do with the person's emotional needs and whether they're being met. And sometimes, with Leos, they want to be seen. They want people to acknowledge them. If they feel neglected in a relationship, yes, I think a Leo person can stray, even though they are known for their loyalty, because they need that acknowledgement. If they're being ignored by their spouse, it's probably the worst thing that, a spouse can do, and the stupidest thing to a Leo is to ignore him or her. And this would also go for the other prominent positions, maybe the moon and the rising sign. Ignore a Leo, expect infidelity. So, and it also, I think, is calling you to look at your spiritual life. Are you trying to get all your needs met in a romantic relationship? What is going on with you in your business life? The Nine of Cups could be you getting what you want, and you being very, maybe you're just, in a very ambitious mood. But somewhere along the line, you have felt betrayed by someone. So this could definitely be a business situation. But maybe you're thinking too much on a worldly level. And that's what's causing a lot of your pain. Maybe you wouldn't be in that position if you would think more about the spiritual side of life. Okay, now, so that was the advice. Now, what I should have mentioned, which kind of fell off here, is what was crossing you, is the Three of Cups. So this is about, socializing. So, I'm thinking that this could even be involving you, that maybe if you did have your heart broken, maybe these people, you're having a lot of indulgence, and you have like a lot of partners to choose from with the Nine of Cups, but your heart is still broken and you're partying too much. This could be you partying too much. And it could also be if you're the one who, maybe you're not the one who, if you're not like in a relationship where there's three parties, because this is another three, you notice that? So that could just be reiterating that there are three parties involved. But I feel like it could involve addiction. It could involve, being too shallow, just kind of like living life on the surface and not really, partying with people, not really getting to know them. And maybe that's leading to these one-night stands. Maybe the Nine of Cups is a series of one-night stands. But it's definitely not the energy of somebody who is, this is reckless. And this can be very indulgent. So that might be what's going on for some of you. And it's all because you're trying to heal from a broken heart. You know, that could definitely be. And even work-wise, the same thing could apply, where you feel like you were betrayed and you might be rebelling a little bit. But the outcome is the Six of Cups, so this is more of a nostalgic energy, and could be pointing to maybe somebody from your past coming in again, and, you know, a love, not an unrequited love, but like maybe a high school sweetheart, somebody that, you know, you thought was gone forever comes back into the picture. And wouldn't it be interesting if, for some of you, if you're not like 50 years old, I guess, but wouldn't it be interesting if that broken heart was describing this relationship? Maybe you always grieved over, you know, your high school romance ending for whatever reason. And you may have been the one to end it, and you were foolish. And you always wondered what happened to that person. And now maybe you're in your 30s. Maybe you're having your 15-year reunion, or even 20-year reunion. And you're still... That's why I said if you're under 50, because after a certain time, you know, I mean, would somebody be carrying... Well, I guess you could carry the pain of breaking up with somebody from high school for 30 years. I suppose you could. But it sure would be nice if that comes true for some of you, if that was something that you always were bothered by, you know, the one that got away. The Six of Cups is a nostalgic card. It's a card about childhood, the past. So if you're in that reflective mood, thinking about someone from the past that you loved, or just that type of relationship and how you want it again, that may come about for you. You know, when we really are clear about what we want, I think that we have a really good chance of attracting it. Maybe not on our timetable, but somewhere down the line. It's just, I think one of the biggest challenges is we have so many conflicts within ourselves. You know, we want this, but we want that, you know. That's what I was talking about before with these two cards. You know, the cups represent nurturing. The swords represent communication, but also sometimes conflict. Sometimes the nurturing that we think that we want, we really don't want it in the way that it's given. And it's just not the right fit for us. And yet it looks really good on paper. And we can't understand why we're such a-holes that we can't appreciate it. But it's not for us. You know, sometimes a person can be a beautiful person and they're not for us. And I'm talking about their soul being beautiful. And they could treat us like gold, but they're not for us. And yet we're not, it doesn't mean if you're not wanting to be in that relationship that you are, that you can't accept love. No, sometimes you know exactly what you want and you know that that is not for you. But, you know, the rest of the world thinks it's the perfect catch. So getting clear about what you want. This is also about not being complicated, you know. Just how we were when we were children, when life was simple, when people did not have ego defenses, Leo, and that they were just really who they, you know how they presented themselves was really who they were, and they didn't, you know, children don't feel the need to pretend to be something they're not. Now, the way that we've gotten to children, you know, this is going away at a younger and younger age, where children are, you know, starting to develop those traits, those negative traits, you know, faster and faster. Whereas before it wouldn't come until adolescence. So that innocence is something that if you're old enough to remember a life before the internet, then you'll particularly understand what I mean, because that means that you remember really, really far back when kids really were like that, and now they kind of like have become little adults in some cases, which is sad. But that let's say it, the idyllic version of what childhood is all about, is what this card represents. It actually represents idyllic situations. So maybe it's not when you were in high school, maybe it was when you were in college, but I think it really would be when you are in youth. You know, when you're in college, you're already an adult. So it probably would be, maybe it's in grade school, and you had certain moments where you knew that you were very happy. You can just, you know, remember those times and remember what you were doing. And everything seemed aligned. And I mean, I remember, you know, just feeling like I was in bliss. You know, that state of intoxication, but in a spiritual intoxication. Well, that's the kind of feeling that is available to us. And I'm not saying that I'm sitting here now in that state, but I'm just saying that I do believe that that's still possible for us, and this card represents that. So I hope you enjoyed this, Leo. If you'd like a private reading, just click on the link below. It takes you to my website, which hopefully will be up and running. I'm creating a new website, and there's a little bit of, you know, once in a while, here and there, little things, hiccups, but should be okay. And if you have any questions, you can just email me at rainamoonastrology@gmail.com if you can't get a hold of me the other way. But in any case, take care of yourself or yourselves, and have a great first half of November. Bye.